Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We've played every mission of the mainline Halo video games, and now we're playing every mission from the rest of the games in the franchise in chronological order. Each episode will be discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the Fighting Retreat mission from Awakening the Nightmare DLC in Halo Wars 2 on the next episode. If you like what you hear and want to support the show, visit Podcast Evolved on Patreon. You can also receive a free audiobook trial by visiting audibletrial.com/podcastevolved. This episode, we're debriefing the What Could Go Wrong mission from the Awakening the Nightmare DLC in Halo Wars 2. We're at the end, guys.
What?
This is it. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
So this Voridus guy is a real schmuck, huh?
Bit of a schmuck.
Yeah, I'd
Bit
say.
of a schmuck.
Little bit. Mission. Go ahead.
He's a flood denier.
He's a flat archer.
It is kind of flat, though.
Yeah, I know. I regret it after saying it.
Last mission was not on my watch. Upon reaching the location of an ancient Forerunner ship, Boomerang Company discovered that the banished plans were more diabolical than originally thought. The Forerunner ship was going to be used to cut the Spirit of Fire in half. The Letgolo leader colony was minutes away from launching the attack, but Major Vaughn quickly gathers UNSC troops to sabotage their plans. After shutting down a series of charging stations to stop the launch, Boomerang Company defeats Colony, cripples the ship, and secures the location for their own research and development efforts. Now, in What Could Go Wrong, Atriox sends Girolane brothers Pavium and Voridus to investigate High Charity's wreckage on Ark. Remember, High Charity has been on the Ark this whole time.
What?
Their orders are simple: scout the area and salvage nearby tech. However, Voridus has other ideas in mind. With aspirations to impress the leader of the Banished, he plans to use a scarab to crack open High Charity's shell and see what's inside. Prepare yourselves.
Ooh.
Date of the game is June 4th, 2552. We are playing as the Banished, and this is weird, isn't it?
No, it's amazing.
I mean, it's cool. I'm all about it. But this is the first time we've flipped to the other side. Oh, no, I guess Halo 2.
Barbiter, yeah.
Yeah, Barbiter. That's a good point. So we have played on their side before, but not from the RTS standpoint.
Oh, and also, like, Arbiter has... You're kind of playing Arbiter's redemption arc as well. Like,
Yeah.
these guys are not going to have a redemption arc.
Right. Exactly. And it's kind of weird to see the UNSC pop up here when we'll talk about that in a little bit. Like, oh, crap, those are the good guys. What am I doing? Yeah. Let's do cutscene stuff first, though. Dave, why don't you take us through this little bit? It's just a little snippet, but it looks very nice.
We get a new cutscenes. I remember when this DLC was announced, that being a huge selling point, and people were pretty happy about the fact we're getting more blur cutscenes. And it's funny how just like that one statement can like sell you on DLC and stuff like that. It's like, yes, more blur cutscenes.
Right.
You know, Halo never looked better. It doesn't with some blur love. So the first cutscene kind of begins with obviously the end of these two brothers were introduced to Pavium and Voridus. They obviously got their asses handed to them by Atriox, and we don't get to see that. We just get the dismissal. So Atriox just kind of like raises.
But did he yell at them? I mean, because their banter afterwards is like, "Don't fuck up again." But like Atriox still sends them on a pretty important mission, doesn't he?
I guess so, but also they were given a very simple task that they made way more complicated by being fuck ups. So like I think they definitely got reprimanded here, but probably in the same spiel of I'm sending you to do this mission, don't fuck it up. So you get kind of a cool hologram of just Aatrox silhouetted. Obviously the voice actor didn't pay for the voice actor, so he didn't come back for this scene. He just stares at them as they leave. And you can see a kind of shield, and that's kind of blue, and the hologram, and like all this orange kind of wreckage. I didn't recognize it at the time, but it's obviously you learn pretty quick. It's High Charity, the wreckage. And then,
have you guys thought about? Sorry to interrupt, but have you thought about High Charity this whole time? Like we left High Charity on the Ark way back in Halo 3.
At the end of Halo 3, I literally have never thought about the Ark or High Charity ever again.
Yeah, I guess I thought it. We exploded it, right? Like at the end of Halo 3, to get Cortana back, we exploded High Charity. I thought that was the end of High Charity. I guess. It's hard to conceptualize. Yeah, it's hard to conceptualize just how huge High Charity is through just the games. I don't think the games make a very good point of how astronomically enormous High Charity is. It's like the size of a planet.
Yeah, you read those numbers off way back when, like describing how big it was. It's just enormous.
It's enormous, and you get to later in the game you get to see kind of like it right next to the Ark, which is awesome. But, yeah, I guess at the end of Halo 3 kind of just, like, leaves it, and it's like, oh, I guess High Charity's gone now because we exploded it. And then I just never, ever thought of it ever again. Or even the fact that the Flood could still be on it, because that was the whole point of firing the ring at the Ark, was to kill the Flood.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, no, it wasn't to kill the Flood, but it was to kill the Flood's food source. Right?
Obviously,
you kill the
ring,
Flood as well when killing the ring.
It kills the Flood too. It kills all the organic matter. It does. Yeah, it does. But you see it in or one of those origin stories. Halo Legends, yeah. They show you like the ring ripping all the organic matter off ships and leaving them wrecked. What they were before.
Yeah, but like it doesn't kill like the spores. I think that's the point. I think the point of like the rings killing the food for the Flood is killing off all the organic matter they can eat so that the spores don't have anything to attach to.
It's like they phrased it in a certain way, but it's all sentient life, so maybe the spores are a lower form of life that kind of like plants. They're just kind of like they get under the net, let's say, and don't give the Flood anything else to infect, so they eventually just starve. Is what I am guessing. But anyway, the cutscene is just the two brothers walking down a corridor, kind of having a talk with each other. It's very quickly kind of character building, showing you that one is a sensible brother and one is an idiot brother. And obviously they come as a pair, with one sticking up for the other. And you get the impression that obviously they've been told they fucked up a previous mission. Pavium is the sensible one, Vortis is the dumb one. So he pretty much just says like, don't fuck up again, brother, come on, I can't help you all the time. We have to get this mission right. It's simple. Go to this crash site, check for stuff. That's our mission. That's it. Don't mess around. And it just kind of like, he's still of a mentality of old brutes, of like wreckage, and it's all like for the taking. He's very alpha male. He's very much like, for the pack, I'm gonna go and get glory for myself. I think he's not he doesn't seem to have been a big believer in Aatrox, is the impression I'm getting, that maybe that the smarter brother is and brought his dumb brother along for the ride. So you get the impression he's not like as indoctrinated as say some of the other Aatrox forces are, so he's a bit of a wild card. They then have a cool kind of gear up moment, so their armor and everything looks awesome. But they have a cool moment where they pick up their weapons, and like this Vortis has his claw extended thing. It's pretty cool, and Bavium has a big gun arm. We get to see it later. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
and then
go ahead.
Sorry, go on, Kyle.
I was just gonna say that sets the scene. And you learn a little bit about their personality throughout this, and we have 5 missions to work through, so we'll learn more about the personality, and there's a lot of exposition and dialogue throughout the missions as well.
Yeah, there's just pretty much this cutscene just ends with a fist bump, and the two brothers just saying, "You worry too much, it'll be great, it'll be fine," and then the cutscene kind of ends.
Yeah, so I mean, it is like, I don't have a brother, but it's probably like classic brother scenario, right? Like, brothers are different, right? But at the same time, they got each other.
Everybody's got a dumb brother, Colin. Everybody.
I don't have a dumb brother.
That means you are the dumb brother, Krista.
No! Oh no.
All right, so let's get into the mission. I'll go through mission briefing, and Chris is going to take us to the toy box, but it's a different toy box this time
we have bought a new toy box, and there's a bunch of different toys. They're very similar to the toys we had, but now we have the knockoff versions.
Right, exactly. The briefing is Voridus and Pavium going back and forth. So Voridus says, Pavium, we are ready to move to High Charity. My men are impatient for glory. Pavium says, put a leash on them, Voridus. The terrain here is unsuitable for our power extractors. I am still working on a solution, and your men would do well to remember that whatever we find here belongs to Atriox. Then Voridus says, this war has tamed you, brother. Where is your Girolane lust for adventure? That relic is ripe for plunder. Pavium, this war has taught me, Voridus. Stay your hand. Once we reach High Charity, we need to move quickly to avoid wrath of the sentinels defending it. Voridus says, yes, I'm well aware that what we face here. Hurry your preparations, old one. Ooh, he's the younger brother. He's the younger and dumber one. I already have troops on the ground. Voridus out. All right, so just more of them bantering, and we get lots more of that pretty much throughout the entire mission. The mission summary is join and support Voridus' assault on High Charity. So he's the one that's leading the assault. Pavium's elsewhere. The scouting report is field anti-air units to combat the heavy sentinel threat. We'll talk about that throughout the mission. The main objective here is safely escort the Scarab to High Charity. That's right. So we controlled Scarabs in previous missions as the UNSC. Now we get a Scarab on our team, but we don't get to control it. But now we're the Banished. Optional objectives are build all the turret slots near the launching bays. So there's 5 total launching bays. That's where the Sentinels come out. Also rescue the Reavers. So there's one little spot down below the main base to go grab some extra Reavers. And then expand all base plots. So there's 3 throughout the map, just little base locations that you can grab. Bonus objectives are capture all the power nodes. There are 4 of them. And then also salvage all Covenant supplies. And that's those little, we'll talk about it at the beginning of the mission here, but there's 10 little Covenant supply, crates around that you need to grab for that. Part time is 35 minutes. Scoring goals, 77,000. That seems low. But that's what it is, 77, because this mission feels a little longer. 77,000 for gold, silver 33 to 76, and bronze is 11 to 32. There are no skulls in any of the DLC here. They didn't add any. But you can still use skulls, you just don't get any new ones. All right, what's this red toy box look like, Krista?
Oh my god, so I have to re-explain all of the different things to you guys. All right. I get to woman-splain everyone. Alright, so we have our hero unit, Voridus. And he's cool, I guess. We have our...
You don't really control him, but he's on the map.
Yeah, he just kind of chills and talks and yells at you. He just yells at you. That's all he does.
Is he on the map?
He shows up at the very end. He pops out of that Scarab.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was, on the map. No, that's fine.
He just yells at you. And then we have our super unit Scarab, because the Banished don't mess around, when it's their DLC, they're going for it, Go big or go home, so they're really showing that in the first mission. And then we have our Stronghold, which can be upgraded to a Citadel and then a Fortress. Those are our bases. And then we have our economy structures. So for supplies, we have the Harvester, which can be upgraded to an Augmented Harvester. And then for power, we have the Power Extractor, which can be upgraded to an Augmented Power Extractor. So they work exactly the same, they cost exactly the same, they upgrade exactly the same. They are just called something different to confuse you. And also because it has to be different, right? So for the base defense, we have our turrets, which can be anti-infantry, anti-vehicle, anti-air. Pretty straightforward. We also can make a shield generator over the base. I know it was really annoying when I fought bases with shield generators, so I just want to make sure to,
Right.
repay that, pay it forward. And then for our units to build out of the base, we have Grunts and Brutes, which can be upgraded to Shrapnel rounds, and then Pack Brother, should get another Brute. And then we have the Chopper, which can be upgraded with Shrapnel Mines. Very good things. So for our barracks, it's called the Raid Camp, and we can make Elite Rangers and Hunters. For the... Oh, what is that? The Foundry.
Garage.
The Garage. We can make Marauders, and we can make Reavers. And the Marauders can be upgraded with Thick Hide. And then we have Apex, which is the air units. And we have our Healing Engineers and our Banshees, which can be upgraded to have Plasma torpedoes. Why wouldn't you want that? And of course our Armory is our War Council. So we get Reinforcements, which gives us 20 additional units. Advanced Logistics 1, 2, and 3. Just the normal stuff.
And then there was one other one.
It was the base defense one. And that can be upgraded 3 times as well.
Yep.
And then we have leader powers, which are the pretty much exact same thing as what we had for the Spirit of Fire, but everything's called something different to confuse you.
More or less.
So,
Nice.
Atriox's Bulwark, and that sounds really scary, right? No, it heals you. It took me so long when I first played through it. I'm like, do I have healing? That doesn't sound like healing. And then I actually read the description. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that is healing. So that's the healing. I'm not sure why it's called that, but it's confusing and makes me sad. And then we have Rain of Fire, which is straightforward. It shoots down some rains of fire. I don't know where it's shooting from because they don't have a ship anymore, but I guess semantics. We have Orbital Designator, which just kind of lifts the fog of war. We have Burnout.
So you can see around. I never used it.
I never used it either. We have Burnout. I don't remember what Burnout does.
I think it's just for this mission. I think like the orbital designator thing, it just allows you to go. I used it once or twice just on the deployment.
Do you put it on top of the Sentinel spawns so that you can throw down a disruption emitter?
Exactly.
Oh, that's fucking smart. I was sending units there.
No, I was just revealing it and then dropping that thing.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes much more sense. Does anyone remember what Burnout does? I didn't use
I don't
it
think
at
I
all.
ever used it.
Yeah, I forgot to write it down, but I didn't use it either. It didn't look like it was super necessary.
No, so we're just gonna pretend that doesn't exist.
Yeah. I'll look it up quick.
And then we have some, while you're looking that up, we have some UNSC units because we have to kill ourselves. And by that we need to kill humans. We have 2 mini bases. They have turrets on their bases. They have infantry, marines, and hellbringers. They have warthogs and wolverines, and they have hornets and nightingales. And they also drop down some ODSTs and some turrets. So the humans have some stuff going
We murdered
on.
them all.
Yeah, we killed them. It's like, oh man, I don't want to kill these guys. I feel bad. And then the main enemy you're going to be fighting in this game is literally just Sentinels. It's just Aggressor Sentinels and Retriever Sentinels, and that's it. That's all you fight. So just make a lot of anti-air stuff, and then just a couple things for ground units, and then you'll be fine the entire mission.
Yeah, exactly. So Burnout increases the targeted area. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Activate to temporarily increase the output of all targeted structures.
Oh, okay, so you can quickly make things.
Pump out stuff.
Pump it. Okay.
Production rate, resource rate, and damage, it says as well. So probably for turrets.
That actually sounds interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe you need to use that on Legendary?
Maybe.
Did you play on Heroic, Krista?
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it'd be too bad. So, alright, let us get into the mission. We are now the Banished, as Krista's been describing. It took me until the second time playing through for me to be really comfortable with it. The first time I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, but more or less everything has, it's you know, like Krista was saying, like the garage is now the foundry. The raid camp is now or the barracks was now the raid camp. So I feel like it's more of a one-to-one. On Halo Wars, the original game, I feel like there was more of a change between playing as the Covenant.
There was a huge difference. Even how they worked and played.
Yeah, to upgrade and unlock different units, you had to progress the Covenant eras?
Like the ages.
Yeah. Because the Covenant is like a cyclical age cycle, so it goes through all these different ages over and over and over and over and over again. So you have to progress through all of them to get everything unlocked, and it's strange.
Yeah. Which I think is interesting, but if you have to kind of learn it before you want to actually play as it. So I'm guessing they just decided to simplify it here. Versus, I guess I don't know. Do you guys appreciate this kind of? Okay, now it's everything is the same. It's just called something different. I don't know, David. Do you appreciate that, or would you rather do it the Halo Wars one way?
I guess it's more interesting the Halo Wars one way to actually have a bigger distinction between them, but that might have been in their negative, and that's probably why they changed it around so that they're easier to use. Also, you're only using it for a couple of missions, DLC, so it probably is easier to make it similar to the UNSC than make a whole new way of faction works that you'll have to learn and then be done with in only a couple of missions. So it probably makes sense to make it more simpler.
Yeah.
I don't know, I liked it. I mean, I always was intimidated by the Covenant in Halo Wars 1. It's pretty much why I never played them. But I didn't play any that skirmish either or anything like that. So I guess the fact that you're now forced to play as Banished is it's good that they've made that transition much easier, I think.
Yeah. Krista, any other thoughts?
I feel the same way. It was kind of cool to have the Covenant have a different thing in Halo Wars 1, but I think for the sake of sellability and playability for the DLC, it was much more efficient to just make it kind of a one-to-one thing.
Well, you could have played as the Banished in the main game in multiplayer, so they had already made that change, I think, before the DLC. But no, I think it simplifies it. I guess I could go either way. I don't play enough multiplayer to really have a strong opinion one way or the other. But you are having to learn, in the Halo Wars one way, a whole new approach, and kind of have to change how you strategize when playing as the Covenant. All right, let's get into it. The start of the mission. I'll take us through the start of the mission. It's a lot of Voridus and Pavium and random brutes and grunts just talking shit to each other for the most part as you walk around the beginning of this mission. You have a couple Reavers and a couple other, ground units. So the Reavers are kind of fun here. I feel like they have that weird jump thing that they can do. So you walk up and then jump across and activate the light bridge, and you get to see what I believe that's High Charity in the distance, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Right away.
High Charity looks weird too. It's gray when High Charity in Halo 3 was purple, but it might just be from aging and explosions and stuff.
Be like the interior you're seeing now and stuff.
The pipes and again, stuff.
All that kind of crack, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's crashed and it's been wrecked to hell. But then meanwhile, I guess we could talk about it here. It has a shell on top of it. So the shell, is that the Sentinels and the Ark quarantining it?
Yeah, it's a big shield.
Because there's still goobers in there. There's still Rona in there.
Right. But we didn't tell it to do that as the Banished.
I think it's an automatic.
UNSC didn't tell it to do that.
It's probably an automatic. It's an automatic protocol or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it's barely been discussed at all in any of the extended lore. But it makes sense that it would have this little bubble over the top because, previously there was stuff in there. Last time we saw it, there were wiggly things that are disgusting in there. All right, so we're going to crawl around this area. We're going to pick up some more units. We're going to pick up some recon units, some grunts and brutes, and we're going to start blowing up a bunch of Sentinels. That's really the main enemy in this mission. So as we get a little further and we get our base, use the stuff that's good against the Sentinels, I would say, right? So we're going to crawl around. There is a Phoenix log off to the side, a couple little paths here and there where you can grab those Covenant supplies. So I won't list off all the locations for that stuff. I'll mention the Phoenix logs at the very end, but the Covenant supplies, since there are 10 of them, they're just kind of scattered about. So go check out Silver's guide on that if you want to go find them all. But in the meantime, we are just going to crawl around, get some more units, and then our brothers are going to talk shit to each other a little bit more. And then we're going to finally get to a base location, which is fantastic. But this base is being assaulted by more aggressor sentinels. And so they have these, what do they call them, like landing bays that are scattered around. So there's 5 of them, and the sentinels are coming out of these locations. Each location has a couple turret spots for either the forerunners, what do we call sentinels? Are they forerunners? I guess they kind of are. For those forerunner turrets to be spawned and defending those locations. But when you take them over, then you can drop your own turrets down in that spot as well. So, Krista, why don't you take us through this opening build here? How did you handle it? You have a timer. You have like 3.5 minutes or something like that to prepare. It says.
Yeah, but like you have way longer than that, because then the scarab drops and then it starts destroying a barrier, which takes it like ridiculously long for a scarab to break through a barrier.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I thought it was weird, but you have a good amount of time to build up everything. So you definitely want to focus on gathering resources first and fully upgrading the base. After that, I built a vehicle and an air thing. I'm not
so
kidding.
So those are foundries and apex.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll get there.
We'll get there
by episode 5.
Yeah. So I focused on making a bunch of Reavers, a bunch of Marauders, and a bunch of Banshees, and then 3 Engineers is kind of what my team was.
Okay.
Reavers were more plentiful than the other 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then, every single turret I put down, I made anti-air. The nice thing about the 2 Sentinel depots that are close to the main base is that you can plop turrets down there, so you always have visibility on them. So you can just pop the distribution emitter or disruption emitter down on them whenever you want. So that's
that thing lasts a long time too.
It does. It lasts long, and it gives you a notification when one of them dies as well, which is very helpful. So I tried to keep one on each of those throughout the entire mission, and some of the other ones I didn't care as much about, but those
so did
two
you? I didn't even try. Can you just like plop a bunch of them down all at once, or do you have to wait for it to?
You have to wait.
I don't know. Okay.
I'm not sure you can plop them down on top of each other, but there's a cooldown for using one anyway.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So there's a little cooldown. You use one, wait for the cooldown, then you can use another one. Meanwhile, the other one, the first one, still hasn't run out yet, right? Like the cooldown isn't the same length as when you as how long it takes to stay there.
No,
Maybe.
I think they last longer than their cooldown is. So you can have multiple on the map at the same time.
Okay.
Which is what I did.
Yeah, you just kind of time them apart, and then you just go around and plop them down.
Yeah.
But yeah, after the main base build-up, it's pretty much just following the Scarab throughout the rest of the map. It's pretty straightforward. Nothing else really happens other than when you get to the human area. And the human area is when you're going to want the Banshee and the Reavers. Or not the Reavers. The Banshee and the Marauders, because the Reavers don't do anything.
Yeah, they have these little tiny guns. They look like little pistols that shoot out of them.
Yeah, so if you're putting all of your big eggs into Reavers, don't do it. You gotta diversify just a tiny bit so that you can kill the humans.
Right, exactly. I think what I left off of the toy box here was you do get jump pack brutes. You can get those. So I guess to my point of the Reaver earlier, Reaver can jump over things. There are a couple spots on the map where like there's a power node towards the top of the map that you can't just walk to. So you need to jump to it. So the problem is that a Reaver can jump to it, but the Reaver can't capture it then. So you do need to do a jump pack brute to jump over there and then capture the power node.
Okay.
David, what did you think about that encounter with the UNSC?
It was a little bit trippy. Do you know what I mean?
wasn't
I
it?
wasn't expecting to see them in there, and then you're like, oh, there's some humans, and then oh, there's a base, and you just wreck shop, and it's kind of like, oh man, sorry
Yeah.
guys, I probably know some of you people. We're probably buddies. We probably lasted a long time, played through the campaign together, and now I just murdered the fuck out of you.
Right.
It was interesting. When I fought them, it was kind of, we can kind of talk about it, like the Scarab. I wasn't very good at protecting the Scarab. Just moved too fast for me and my slow ass units, my slow ass building. So I ended up building a lot of air units to try and support them. So like I took out that base with a lot of leader powers, and a lot of Urgoks sent over there to help repair the Scarab. So the Scarab did most of the work for me.
Yeah.
For that fight, it was interesting.
I mean, the
cool.
Hurgok helped a ton, right? Because my Scarab got way down there at one point. It was down to like 20%, something ridiculous. But then the guy sent over a couple engineers, and then it got all the way back up to 100%.
That's exactly what I did too.
Chris, what do you think of that UNSC encounter?
Yeah, it messed up my initial run because I only had Reavers.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Because I'm like, well, why the fuck would I make anything else other than Reavers if I'm just fighting Sentinels all day?
Yeah.
Like, why would I do that?
That's probably why they put them there, to be honest, right?
Yeah, that's the exact reason why they put them there, because then I was fucked. I was just like, I guess I'm dying now because the Scarab is getting absolutely ripped apart, and I just died. And that was
you
the end.
failed?
Yeah, I did.
Oh no.
I was also trying to play it on Legendary too.
Okay.
I initially tried a Legendary run, and I got there, and then I'm like, I don't really want to play on Legendary all the way back to this point. It's pretty much like a third through the mission, or 2/3 through the mission.
Mm-hmm.
So I switched it to Heroic, and it was much easier. And now I know what I need to do on Legendary.
Were there any like leader powers used against you on Legendary?
Not that I noticed, no.
Okay. So it wasn't too bad. Besides the whole not having any vehicles to shoot down the UNSC.
Yeah, it was quite funny. It was just like, I guess I'm dead.
Right.
The Scarab's not going to stop. It's going to keep going forward into danger.
Yeah. Did you explore much around the map? I mean, because I've been trying to get all the optional objectives, so I felt, I always feel compelled to kind of explore as much as possible. So I found a couple little areas that I probably wouldn't have gone to if I'm just following the Scarab.
Yeah, a couple, like, here and there, but I wasn't exploring that much.
Yeah. And you don't really have to just to complete the mission.
Yeah.
So, yeah. David, what did you think about the map in general? Like, did you... when I started the mission and you kind of see, the little mini map and how you're off to the side, it felt big. Like, it felt just like an expanding map. And then once you play through it a time or two, it's like, oh, it's not too bad. But there's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, it's a pretty big map. I liked it well enough. I guess the mission structures you in terms of follow the Scarab and don't explore. It kind of funnels you in that way.
Yeah.
That's why at the start I kind of messed up a bit. Where I was kind of exploring and looking around and trying to find other things around me. Resources, pretty much. I was kind of hurting for resources for this mission a bit. So like, I think you stumbled into like different groups and like this. Pods of humans, I think, isn't there? There's some warhogs or something like that, I think, kicking around somewhere.
There's Reavers down below your
yeah, that's right. You can find them, they become allies and stuff.
Right.
So I did a lot of that at the start. But it is a cool map, and it has like when you meet the kind of control platform later on. I think that area is kind of cool. Kind of the way it kind of spirals and kind of curls down. No, it's cool.
Yeah, I felt
nice
I felt a little, I don't know, I guess rushed a bit more than I wanted to. Because I felt like I needed to take my time and figure out some strategy to, take down all these Sentinels. And then the Scarab plops down, and there's some dialogue between Pavium and Forwardus, I think, talking about, hey, what are you gonna do about all these Sentinels? And then Forwardus is like, I'm bringing in the Scarab. So that plops down, and then it just goes. It's on automatic autopilot. So as soon as it goes on autopilot, and you realize that it starts just walking off and it starts taking damage, then I'm like, oh crap, I can't really explore anymore. I have to totally focus on keeping this Scarab safe, which you don't, like, it's not too bad. I mean, you don't need a ton of units to keep it healthy, and you just need a few engineers and some reavers, and when you do meet the UNSC, you need some other units just to take down the Wolverines and what do they have? What's the air unit again? Hornets that they have. So you do need to switch it up a little bit, but I felt like my focus of exploring went away after the Scarab just kind of went off on its own. Bye, buddy. Okay, I think you need my help. So you just follow it around a little bit, and then do you want to talk about this kind of end section, David? About Vortis pops out, and then there's like this little puzzle area that you have to figure out.
Yeah, this is kind of weird. So like the Scarab eventually gets to where it's going, and Vortis kind of pops out and runs over to the control and starts, as you can imagine, brute smashing it. Whatever he does, he figures out how to control and turn off the I'm blanking on their names.
He's trying to turn off the Sentinels because there's the big Retriever Sentinels show up at the very end, right?
Yeah,
but they don't show up right away. Like I think he's just trying to disable the Sentinels in general.
Yeah, so he's trying to turn off and stop them spawning. It's a weird little puzzle game because like you fight your way around it and down. It kind of spirals down a bit, and you're just taking out turrets and stuff as you go along. And then when you get to like the bottom, essentially, you have to solve a puzzle by activating 3 kind of areas. And it's just you've seen these kind of puzzles before. There's like 3 circles, all one inside the other, and you have to line up a design on them in a certain way. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty simple. You just keep clicking, and then eventually when one circle reaches its correct position, it just locks. So you can very easily just kind of force it. And just kind of like speed your way through. And once it kind of unlocks, this then deactivates the Sentinels essentially, and kind of ends the mission. It's a weird little ending thingy.
Yeah, Krista, what do you think about the end of this thing?
Oh god, I was panicking a little bit because the Scarab got down to like 30%. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ!
At the end, yeah.
I was way closer to the end. My Scarab was dead. I had just had about 5 bloody fucking Hergoks over there swarming it.
That's what I did too. I had like 3 of them. Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god. Because I completed the design. My strategy was to complete the design and then move the design into like whatever thing it needed to be to line it up with the rest of the thing. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. So I was like...
Oh, yeah.
I completed the design, and then I'm like, shit, I need to turn it 3 more times, every single one. I'm like, oh shit, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I see, yeah. You did because the game tells you when you have it in the right spot.
Yeah.
So you had the design, it was just twisted.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. So it was fun and very stressful, and I thought it was interesting. Like I don't hate it. I like it.
Well, so when I played it, because it's been a long time since I played this originally. But it shows you, it does a little shot of that center ring area. And I thought originally that I needed to like bring a unit or a Reaver or something over there on top of it to then interact with it. So and all you need to do is click on it, right, with your mouse or with your cursor. So anyway, I wasted a bunch of time my first playthrough, like trying to drag a Reaver all the way across to it, and I tried to jump it on top of it, and it's like, why is this not working? Oh, I just have to click on it. Okay, got it. Yeah. So anyway, I think it's cool having a little bit of a puzzle. I think puzzles in RTSs are, I don't know, a little weird. Or we've done puzzle type stuff in Halo in general, super light puzzles. But I feel like the last similar puzzle was when we were playing the twin stick shooter, where you had to like stand on certain areas, and it's a really light puzzle, but it's still kind of a puzzle. So anyway, so that's the way that you end the mission. Then finally you disable the Forerunner defenses of all of the Sentinels, and trying to keep you from doing exactly what you're doing, keep you away from High Charity. Then the Scarab climbs down and starts ripping a hole into the side of this shield that's keeping something inside. David, you want to take it from here?
So we get a second cutscene, which is lovely. So as kind of Colin says, you kind of see this Scarab cut the beam, And then it's like, go brothers, go get us our reward. You can see all these troops running towards like the hole in the barrier you just cut through. So I don't think anyone's under any impressions that this is going to end well. I think it's called Awakening the Nightmare, so that's pretty much what you've just done in this mission. I mean, I think we've kind of done this before. You know, you got to turn off this defense system. I'm like, but you know it's on for a reason, right? And then, right. No, we got to turn it off. We got to turn it off. Any games, anything, they all have this moment where you got to turn the thing off, and then the very thing that they were defending against is now what you got to fight. And it's kind of like, maybe we should turn the thing back on again. But anyway, the cutscene kind of begins with an awesome shot of like the Ark from space. Yeah. And what looks like, I'm looking at it now because I have it paused. It looks like a huge impact crater, which makes sense. And in the joins of two arms of the structures of the Ark, and there's a big blue bubble coming up into space around it, and it looks cool. It's a really cool shot. And then it kind of zooms in and you can see clearly the High Charity sticking up out of the ground, crashed into it with a nice blue shield with a very small section cut out of it by a scarab beam. I don't really understand how shields work, so I didn't think you could cut a section out of it. So it's probably not an energy barrier.
Is it like a light shield? Maybe can you cut into light shields?
Maybe you can disrupt a certain portion of it, obviously. And there's a cool kind of shot of like the scarab and all the damage it did in like a nice circle line leading back up with Vortis kind of like standing in front, and he kind of nods his troops in. You see about 4 brutes.
They get like 5 seconds in, 5 feet in there.
Yeah, they walk in and it's pitch black and you know what's happening. The sounds are there. It's creepy. There's some creepy crawlies, and then all of a sudden these guys get jumped by Flood, and it kind of just cuts. You see them like they kill one with like a spike gun, and they kind of think, that was easy. You know, we just killed one, and then you get like a Lord of the Rings kind of like a glowing light, and like the music kind of picks up in the background, and you see like shapes moving in the shadows. And you know the Flood are coming. It's over. These guys are dead. It cuts to the outside, and you see Vortis watching a shambling brute come back up. His buddy kind of like moves to kind of go and help him. Vortis stops because now he's a believer. Too fucking late, dummy. And you get like an infected and converted. It's a lovely panning shot of what it looks like a Flood infected brute.
Amazing.
So cool. Vortis just says, prepare yourselves. He puts his face mask on, his helmet kind of like comes around and attaches it. It's a really fucking cool armor thing, animation. I think it looks dope as the helmet just assembles around him. He pops his blades, and the brutes go to war, and like out of behind it, this kind of infected brute come all these infection forms and other Flood forms that we haven't seen before. So you get like a cool fight scene of these brutes fighting, and you get to see this new form kind of rolling, and it's got like white glowy things on it, yellowy glowy things. It rolls, jumps out, and shoots out its kind of long spindly arm like tentacles. Stretchy arms to kind of hold down brutes while the infection forms grab it and infect. They seem to work great in pairs. Then you have Pavin shooting his blades out of his wrist, which is pretty cool. Standing on dudes, you get a gravity hammer slam down, knocking these dudes everywhere. But it's really these new forms that are like tendrils and kind of holding the enemy down. That does kind of the damage. Then Pavin is just kind of crushing heads, splattering this reactive goo everywhere. It's pretty cool. There's a panning shot of the fight as it kind of steps back, and you can see the scarab up in the hills, and you see all the Flood coming out and the fight happening, and that's kind of where the cutscene ends. It's pretty fucking cool, to be honest, seeing the Flood kind of burst out and wreck shop, and also seeing the brutes kind of like smash the shit out of the enemies is actually pretty fun too.
Yeah, so it's Flood time. I mean, you probably already knew that. They advertised the Flood, I think, as a part of the DLC. But, Flood, we thought they were contained. We thought they were gone, but they are not. We get to deal with them in the DLC. So this is canon, right? I mean, This isn't just... I mean, it was a little weird to see. I think we all talked about it was a little weird to see Flood in Halo Wars 1. but it felt like it was more there from a gameplay standpoint, like a variety of enemies standpoint. But here, they built the way they built in the Flood here. It makes perfect sense, right? Like,
yeah, story-wise, there's no issue with it.
Yeah, outside of like, what we talked about in the front end of the episode where the ring was fired and all this other stuff. Maybe this light shield was over top of High Charity already.
The ring was broken as well.
Yeah.
Like, there were a lot of issues going on. Like, and the whole reason to fire the ring was really more to kill the Grave Mind than to eradicate all of the all of the Flood. But also there's the issue of the Flood just existing on the Ark is real bad news, because the Halos that are actually in their regular position do not go out that far with their range. Even if all 7 are fired, they will not affect the Ark at all. So it's a big issue to even have any kind of Flood on the Ark.
Yeah, the other thing that's interesting to note is oh no, I lost my train of thought. There's another interesting point that I'll bring up in a second when I think of it. Just having the Flood back in the universe. I think we all want it, right? Like, we've all want the Flood to be part of the story, because since 343 and the end of Halo, I guess it's not 343, it's the end of Halo 3. Like, they kind of tied a bow on that. Okay, Flood aren't around anymore. We've always been curious, like, when are they going to come back? When are they going to come back? Because they most likely are. So they are here, and now we have to deal with them as the Banished.
And the Flood are, like, with deep lore and stuff like that, the Flood are more important than just a parasite that decides to fuck up shit every once in a while to the Halo universe.
Yeah.
True.
The Flood can be traced back to, like, the origins of the Forerunners and stuff like that. So they're very important, and they've always been a threat since the universe existed, pretty much.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's do, and we'll talk more Flood, as this unfolds. So why don't we do some trivia?
Not a whole lot of real trivia in here, but we got one little piece for you. This marks the first campaign level in the series where the UNSC appears as enemies, so that's interesting if you didn't know that, but that's kind of obvious. This mission was supposed to be Vordus as the leader. However, due to him being an ally, Pavium was selected as the leader instead. So essentially, he is a leader or an ally in that he is not a non-controllable unit in the Scarab as he marches through the mission. So it doesn't make sense that you would be him coordinating the units. So I guess it makes more sense that you're the other brother Pavium controlling and building the units throughout the mission. That makes sense, Colin? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Makes sense? Okay.
Smart boy.
I think
Smart
so.
boy. Yeah, okay. That's pretty much it for the trivias.
The other thing that I dug up, and maybe it was known at the time, or it popped up in the lore community, and I just didn't realize it, but the emblem, now that we're playing the Banished, I have a Banished hat. And it has the weird Banished symbol. I think it looks cool, but I've never been able to make sense of like what's going on with this symbol. Apparently, the emblem, the Banished symbol, with like the kind of upside down triangle and then a bunch of kind of spikes sticking out of each side, that is modeled after Atriox's mace, the Chainbreaker, if you view it from the top down. So you know how it has kind of those red, energy spikes sticking out of the side. So there was, and that can be confirmed. There's a Twitter conversation, I think, with Jeremy Cook, one of the main, the art directors of Halo Wars 2, and he more or less has some art up there that is like you can kind of see the mace, and then it's like kind of low, and then you can see the symbol popping out at the top. So pretty cool that's where that came from.
I actually saw you tweet that, and I immediately looked up a picture of the mace, and it is very satisfying to look at the symbol and the mace side by side. It's like, oh,
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Good job, Colin.
Yeah, that was a fun thing to uncover. But again, like, it's been out there, it's been known since 2017, but I hadn't crossed my desk, so I figured it was worth chatting about really quick. All right, let's do. We do Phoenix logs now, don't we? There are 2 of them.
Yeah, I got 2 of them.
And let's see. One is as you're just kind of wandering around the beginning of the section. There's a little path. I think I mentioned that one already. There's a little path where you can go grab one, and then the other one is on the north side of the map. There's a little ridge, and there's a Covenant supply structure up there, and it's right off there. So there are two. What do they have to say, Krista?
All right, they are very very well named. They're both called Pandora's Box 1 and 2.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
All right, the first one reads, Field Report, Comms Officer G. Peterson. A very banished name, really. I mean, G. Peterson.
That Peterson clan, I
transmission
tell you
date.
what.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the Peterson chieftain's really a cool guy. I think his name is Smith. Transmission date 6/1/2559. We're 2 clicks out from the High Charity crash zone, but even from this distance, it still dominates the skyline. I wish we had been around to see it hit the dirt. Oh, you don't. Oh my god. It sure made one heck of a dent. It may have been the Covenant's capital city once, but now it's nothing but a giant reminder of their failure. It's eerily quiet here, spooky even. And it's not just the story of this place. Approximately 300 meters around the crash zone, all life stops growing, as if it hit an invisible fine line and refuses to cross. Might be an intentional part of the arc, but we don't know enough about the area to be sure. Greenery makes way to raised, blackened ground, and the trees look like used matchsticks, hacked off at the head and stunted. The creepiest thing is that there's no sound from animals, birds, or even insects. Hard to see whether they fled the desolation or the sheer number of sentinels swarming around here. So, spooky. Ooh. Alright, so the second one is still from G. Peterson. Isabel's reports from the war indicate that the strange dome over High Charity is some kind of protective measure the Ark systems created after High Charity crashed. Something about wailing off alien threats too big to quickly deal with otherwise. It definitely explains the Sentinel presence here. Regardless, after seeing what the Sentinels did to the Enduring Conviction, we're not about to anger these bees, no matter what kind of honey could be inside. Our orders are to sit tight and observe. Major Vaughan. Vaughans?
Nailed it.
Yeah, I'm very good at pronouncing names. Close shave with the Forerunner ship.
It's just Vaughn,
the captain,
right? Major Vaughn?
Vaughn?
Yeah. Vaughn's got
Okay.
a G and an H in there. It's weird.
Why? Why English? Why does English do this to me? I can't do anything. Alright, his close shave with that Forerunner ship, the captain has us watching all potential hotspots for banished activity, and the odds are Atriox will likely make a play for High Charity. From what we've seen before, Atriox has no compunctions. Oh god, I can't read today.
Compunctions?
Compunctions, yeah.
I'm guessing? Maybe?
Oh my god, Chris has got stupid brain today.
You can do
Anyway,
it, Krista.
about messing with the Ark in order to get what he wants. That's it. That's all you have to hear from me reading. There you go.
So all this really says is that the UNSC knew that this thing was there, right?
The UNSC knows it's there. The UNSC knows it could possibly be a target for Atriox, and the UNSC are smart enough to not just go in and waltz around in High Charity, because apparently everything around High Charity is dead.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, if you see an object and everything around the object is dead, you might not want to go up to that object. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a little paranoid, but I don't know. I wouldn't go up to that object.
I think, that sounds smart.
Yeah.
The other thought that I was going to mention earlier that went before I went blank was that we've been to the humans have been to the Ark before, so you would think that the humans knew High Charity. Well, the humans knew High Charity was here because
You can
that's
see
like
it from
common
space.
knowledge. Yeah. So it's been, but the Spirit of Fire didn't.
Everyone
know.
was smart enough to not mess with it.
Right. They just left it there, and they maybe did a little research around it or whatever else. But to that point is that the Spirit of Fire didn't know that, they don't even know what High Charity is. So I guess
sure
Isabel's probably
Yeah.
filled them in a little bit, but anyway, it is known that this massive planet
It
thing,
is known.
yeah. But apparently the brutes decided to ignore that.
Because they're dumbs.
'Cause they're
Dumb
big
brutes.
dum-dums. That's right.
Dum-dums.
All right, let's do community, and we'll get out of here. Anything on Facebook?
The communities of the Facebook. We have Colin Perkins created a poll. Admin October 6th at 1:56 a.m. Well, that's a late one, Colin. It's probably my time, is it? It's probably not your time. It's probably converted. You hardly posted that at 2 a.m., did you?
There's a chance I did.
There's a chance you did. Okay, Drunk Colin posts Honor or Glory? Question for mission debrief. Halo Wars 2. What could go wrong mission? So we have an option of Honor or Glory. No context. We have Honor winning by the landslide 23-8.
Oh.
We have some comments. Stand in the ashes of 1 trillion dead souls and ask the ghosts if honor matters. Their silence is your answer. Javik. That's awesome. That's an awesome quote from Mass Effect 3. Lucas, I like it. You get a thumbs up, Lucas. Good job.
I thought
Chris
that was.
says-
I forgot that was from Mass Effect. I thought it was from anime.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have gotten
It
it
could
if you hadn't
be.
have told me Javik at the end, but it sounded familiar, and I was like, I fucking knew this. But yeah. Chris says, "Well, I've never heard of an honor hole." So, Jesus. Patrick says, "Why not both?" That's a good answer, Patrick. And finally, Manny says, "Military glory, the attractive rainbow that rises in the showers of blood." Abraham Lincoln. Interesting quote. There we go. Colin, what was your... Do you want to talk about your poll?
So the votes... Oh, like why honor or glory? Well, because
Yeah.
Voridus is all about the
Colin.
glory, right? He's going out here, wants to do well and show off and prove himself to Atriox. And Pavium's like, whoa, buddy. Let's just do what we were told. So that was kind of that I don't know,
I gotcha.
juxtaposition of the two. Anyway, but it was interesting that, so Honor won in the Podcast Evolved Facebook. There are more comments about Glory. What did Discord have to say?
Honor got 13 and Glory got 6.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
Honor wins.
Look at that.
Apparently, yeah.
Any
We
comments?
got an
Cal's-
honorable bunch of crowd.
Yeah,
Honorable
just a
bunch of
couple. Cal says Honor. I'm a Sing Healy on the inside. Nate says even though I hate those stupid dinos, you gotta praise them for their honor. Pope but spookier says Glory feels temporary and can get to your head. I'd rather go for being honorable. Gone Beast says, Glory, I want to die around a pile of dead bodies holding a shotgun and an M23 rotary grenade launcher.
Nice.
Very specific, but okay.
Very. Shadow of Oni says, Honor, I am a fan of Glory shots. Although I'm a fan of Glory shots. And then Dizudo says, does this answer your question? And I believe it is the Leroy Jenkins video.
Yes.
That's
That's all Glory.
I believe
baby.
that is Glory.
Let's get in there.
That is Glory. And yeah, and then we've transitioned into talking about which noble team death was Glory and which was Honor. So
Yeah, go read that. There's some interesting thoughts in there.
yeah. And that's about it.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for participating. As always, we're running out of missions to debrief before Infinite. So get heard. Hopefully you've caught up and you're playing along with us. And then
This is your last chance because once we finish Halo Wars 2, we're deleting everything.
That's
The
right.
Discord, all of the podcasts, it's all going away. So you better be paying attention.
That's right. It's all gone soon. That'll do it for a debriefing of what could go wrong mission from Halo Wars 2 on the next episode. We'll be playing Fighting Retreat. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. You can also support the show by visiting Podcast Evolved on Patreon. And don't forget that free audiobook trial. Visit audibletrial.com/podcastevolved. Until next time, evolve.
Evolved! Ooh, nice on the hour mark, Colin.
I know. Good timing.